country continues to do what's right, regardless of what pathetic little leadership we have, and I'm fed up with it.
Yeah, I'm joining the crowd. And before we get in with Joanne today, which I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, yeah, always.
I wanted to give you a reminder. The form you use to appoint a veterans representative, it's VA Form 21-22. Unless you've done your claim in like the last month, you need, next time you do something in the claims arena with the VA, do a new VA Form 21-22 and appoint a claimant representative. You don't have to change, you just need to reappoint your representative so that they can get to your claim folder. I had 2 appeals last week, and I remembered to give them 21-22s because both of them had their claim remanded back to the regional office for a better physical exam on the part of the VA. And of course, their claims have been pending like 4 and 5 years respectively. So their claimant representative would have no access to their claim folder to help them out when those claims are remanded back to the regional office and they get a new exam. So please remember to do a new one.
Hey folks, we got the best program director at WMEL and obviously the best board operator and engineer. He just threw up a quote from Winston Churchill. What he said to us?
You can always count on Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else.
Thank you for that, Vince.
Thank you, Vince.
And it is true, people. The VA is making some blanket changes, and it's not necessarily a benefit to you. I'm not even sure. They have motivations, and they know what they're doing behind the scenes. But when they do something like this, saying that your power of attorney, the person or the agency that you select to represent you on matters before the VA, has to be updated in midstream if you've got a claim pending, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and some of the other changes we've sent to you, and I think Garen may have included some of the concerns we have in a letter that he gave to Secretary McDonald.
I do, and I just know that there's so many people out there. We're waiting for our Director of Counseling, Joanne Ivins, to chime in here, and I know she will in a moment. But I just wanted to share with you that I know there's a lot of frustration in the military and veteran community. The choice card, look, if the CBOX, which stands for what?
Community-based outpatient clinic.
Which there are hundreds of them across the land.
Right.
If they don't have a fundamental understanding of the choice card program, can you sum that thing up? What is choice card again, real quick?
Well, choice card is that thing you got in the mail if you're enrolled in the VA healthcare system that basically said if they can't get to you in a timely fashion, that they can authorize you to go see a doctor downtown, one from their list. But that never happens.
It's not, and I don't care how many numbers you hear quoted from the top echelon of the VA. It's not happening, people, because there isn't even a good fundamental understanding of how the program works at the lowest level, which is the clinic level, the CBOC level. So that's something that we put upon the Secretary to address. The standardization of the forms, which you just talked about, which is really what I wanted to hit on. Okay, the 21-22, this particular one that says, hey, I want this outfit to represent me.
Yeah, American Legion, DAV, sure. VFW, whoever.
To make changes in that, yes, they have their justification, but it's pretty weak, in my opinion, if somebody's
it's a reinterpretation of the existing form and what it allows and doesn't allow. That's crazy.
Yeah, because what it can do is interrupt the process right now.
Exactly, and that puts a barrier to proper help for the veteran. It's not a help. It's not. Yeah, I don't know who reinterpreted this, but they need to go to school again.
Well, infectious diseases and other things that they wanted to secure the identity and what have you, the privacy of the veterans. That's fine. But if you've got a claimant that has a power of attorney and they don't have that issue in their claims file, then don't paint everybody with the same brush and say, stop.
Yeah, and this form's been good for access by your veteran service organization that represents you for claim matters for decades. And yes. Suddenly somebody picks it up and looks at it and says, oh, no. Got to redo that.
Yep, so just be aware that you really need to see your your accredited service officer if you have any question. Actually, everybody needs to.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't, the worst mistake I will tell you that I think you can make is doing the claim yourself, or doing the claim based on somebody sitting next to you at a function at American Legion Post or VFW, and they tell you, oh, I did this and got this, and yeah, well, you ain't them and they ain't you.
Exactly. And also another part is something as simple as an initial application. All right, it's changed. That form's been upgraded a couple times in the last year, right?
Yeah, and it requires, if you're married, an additional form to be submitted, and there's no room on the new form to put any remarks in, so you have to know that you can use another VA form to put down what extra information you think the VA needs to know about your claim. I wouldn't be sending a claim to the VA without explaining what's my position and what's going on, by just sending the claim form and the evidence, and hope that they understand the evidence.
And another thing we threw out there is so many vets. We hear this again and again and again. And if you have ever personally tried the 1-800-827-1000 number, you'll understand their level of frustration there.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just you don't get through.
You don't get through, and they promise that they'll call you back, and sometimes they do, and most of the time they don't. And
so that's something that we've really pushed hard, that they're going to have to improve that level of customer service. And I believe Bob McDonald, our new secretary for the VA, he's only been on the job about a year.
Right.
I believe, especially as the chief leader of Procter & Gamble, which is a worldwide company, it's across the planet, I believe he knows, and he has the ability to focus on customer service, because that's really what grows businesses, right?
Exactly. And customer service is, helping the veteran. It's most phone calls, I'll guarantee you, are about the status of my claim.
Exactly. And if you can't get a hold of anybody, or your call gets dropped, or you get said, hey, call back later, or we'll call you back, or these kind of things, the level of frustration just rises and rises and rises.
Well, and it's multiplied by the fact that you can use e-benefits to file a claim, and then the status of the claim, if they ever even put it in e-benefits, tells you nothing.
And you mentioned earlier, we're kind of harping on this, but it's important, people. This is the information that you're not going to get anywhere else. Don't file electronically. If you have a single issue original claim, let's say you banged up your knee and you're wearing a brace now, fine. You feel confident about it and you've got some medical evidence to support it, you can probably do that. But if it goes any one step further than that, you really need to seek out an accredited representative, right, Glenn?
Oh, absolutely. I still stick by, don't do a claim yourself. I don't care if it's the simple one issue and you have tons of evidence to submit along with it, and it should be a no-brainer. You still should go through an accredited representative. Maybe that one simple issue is causing you another problem, and that could be grounds for a secondary claim. The if and or but world of VA benefits is that. It's the if and or but world, and you got to know all those if and or buts.
And I also want to say that this is a common complaint among people that use the VA for healthcare services, is the non-formulary prescriptions, or the prosthetics departments. Give you a quick example. We've got, obviously, all of you that are clued into AVET Project, we're incorporated here in Florida. We have charity registrations here, Oregon, California, and Texas. Well, in Oregon, we have a great number of volunteers, a lot of good things happening there. And we get a lot of feedback from the vets. And you know what? It's usually quite positive. They have this particular prescription that has to go to a compounding pharmacy, and boom, they can get it made and delivered to them, no problem. We've actually had the situation arise where one moved down here, same medication, previously being provided through non-formulary compound pharmacy from the VA. They get here, no, can't have it. Same thing with certain prosthetic appliances. No, we don't do that here.
Well, I know from my experience why the VA had a motto there for a couple of years called One VA.
Yeah, what happened to that motto?
Yeah, well, here's a perfect example of it. It's different everywhere you go, and that's just totally frustrating. it's snowbird time, and I'm starting to pick up a lot of snowbird clients, and the things they tell me, I go, well, okay.
Yeah, and it is. It has to be one VA, although it is not. And this is not a bitch and gripe session, folks. We are identifying the changes that need to take place to better serve the veterans, because that's the only purpose the VA is in existence.
Exactly.
Is to serve our brothers and sisters in arms. And if I can get something in Oregon and I can't get it here under the same VA, there's a problem.
There's a big problem.
All right, there's a level of understanding, or somebody thinks that it's coming out of their own wallet. I don't know, but you have to dig into it, and this is what we're challenging Secretary McDonald and his administration to look into and correct, because these things, it's just not serving the veteran.
Absolutely.
And another thing I just want to throw out about rating decisions, and Glenn, you and I, actually, when we had the former Undersecretary for Benefits, Allison Hickey, on, we spoke about the code sheet. What exactly is that, and why is that important?
Well, that's actually the last sheet of the rating decision, and it shows the codes, which are the diagnostic codes for the disability, and like it might be 5,200, and that's a knee problem, and that's not the right code. I'm just picking this out for example, and that's not given to the veteran because it has the rating official's name on the top. Well, that's a simple doggone fix by the VA. You can fix it in the computer and take the rating decision persons off, because me as an accredited representative, if I had that code, then I know exactly what the VA is rating you for or denying you for. Without that, you're left to have the veteran, because I can't speak for the veteran, you're left to have the veteran call the 800-1000 number, and we already told you how successful that will be. In essence, it's vital for the helper to help you to get that code sent to you with the rating decision.
It's about communication, people. We've got to be able to communicate. Now, our engineer, who I just previously laid some heavy-duty praise on, told me a little bit ago that Joanne was waiting online, and apparently I did not get that communication right.
We apologize, Joanne.
So, Vince, go ahead and cue the music for Journey of the Spirit. On the line with us right now is AVET Project's Director of Counseling, Joanne Ivins. Hi, Joanne.
Hello, how you doing?
You are a very patient lady, and my apologies, my goodness, horrible.
Yes, thank you for your patience.
So you're having an abbreviated version now of Journey of the Spirit, so let's get right into it. What have you got to share with us today?
Well, I wanted to stress, so I wanted to how much time do I have so I can know?
You got 9 minutes. Take it all.
Okay, this is really a brief, okay? So I was kind of going over things that we deal with every day here in the United States, and one of the things that's most common on stress, and I just try to really make it brief now, is about, even in America, we all worry about money, and it's because it's hard to make ends meet. And so I wanted like to just, abbreviate everything. And I want to just explain it to you. For me, one time when I was stressed out about money, everybody gets rephrased in a way, because one time my husband lost his job, and it was at Christmas time, and we were really struggling, and someone came and put $250 in the envelope, and it stuck on the seat, and we never knew who did it. At one point, it's kind of embarrassing, like, oh my gosh, everybody knows what, going to kind of thing.
Sure.
With gratitude, to think how wonderful of him to think of us. And one of the things that I did for that was to pay it forward, and from then on, was always helping other families. And I can remember teaching my children to help other families, like toys, and finding the family that needed them, and going at night and sneaking up on the door step, ringing the doorbell and hiding, and the father coming in the door and saying, "Oh my goodness, Santa found us."
Never would have thought that.
No, I know. I mean, we're talking about that. Kind of like, yeah, even is why. There's always a sense of humor with whatever's going on. We are going through a lot of stressful times right now because of the holidays, and sometimes it's work. A lot of people are trying to work, go to school, do so many things that are, stressing them out. Sometimes it's health. Health comes along and, knock you to the floor with something. I know I remember I had a brain surgery one time, but we overcome so many things, and life is a journey. What we have to remember is everything is a journey, and we go through it, and then we look back at that and think, oh my gosh, how stressful it was at that time, but it doesn't last forever. And anyway, I'm just kind of not hurrying.
No, take your time, Joanne, because this is important. Stress affects us all, and it affects us all in varying degrees. But if we can put ourselves outside ourselves and look at others and know that everybody else is going through the same journey and having the same trials and tribulations.
Exactly. And I wanted to put, believe it or not, some of the things, even when we're going through a lot of stress, people ask things of us. And we are overwhelmed and think, I can't do one more thing, but we're afraid to say no. But I want to tell people how to say no. And one of the ways is, like, for instance, I had a woman call me, and I was out of town in Texas, and because I heard you help people, women, when they're in trouble, and I need a place to live, can I come and live with you? Well, at that time, because I do always have people live with me, help them out,
Mm-hmm.
I did not teach her. And yet, you're torn between, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I don't think I can help her. But the other part was saying, I can't, and we have to realize that sometimes we can't. And the one way to do it, first of all, is to say, let me think about that and get back to you. I can't talk right now, so whatever. Because it gives you a chance to honor yourself with what can I deal with and what can I not deal with. And then choose to say, okay, I can't. And we're okay with that. I was kind of going to ask you guys if there's any situation that you go through at this time of the year or have ever gone through that overwhelmed you.
Oh, Glenn, you want to go first? I'll jump in.
No, go ahead, Garen. I'm thinking.
I will say this much, as deeply involved in the veteran community as Kim and I and the rest of the volunteers are, it is always a challenge, particularly this time of year, to see families that are suffering, to see children whose dads and some moms are overseas and have been for months and months and months. And it really tugs at our hearts, which increases our stress level because it's almost like we're living that a second time.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really stresses me out, particularly during the holiday season that we're in, is the fact that I run into people that I can't help, and it just stresses the heck out of me. But I don't know any way to help them. I don't have any resources to help them. I don't have anywhere to refer them to, and it just really whacks me out on certain days.
It does,